G'day everyone, Dan here. Welcome to North Queensland Barbecue and Brewing. Tonight I've got something a little bit different, and I did this in my offset smoker. It's a completely rolled out piece of chicken stuffed with chorizo, onion and panko breadcrumbs, a few other little things. And I cooked it in the offset smoker. So to see how I've cooked this, stay tuned and we'll get into the cooking process. So I'll begin by making the stuffing for this, and what I've got pre-prepared anyway, I've got one onion really finely diced onion, garlic, sorry, and I've got a little jalapeno chili off my pan. It's not that spicy, it's actually quite mild. I've had a little bit, it's barely any spice to that, but it will add an incredible flavour. So what I'm using here, I've got one of these. This is a continental chorizo, so this one just came out of the deli. So I'm going to dice this up really finely. And the other ingredient I've got for the stuffing is sun-dried tomatoes. And I might even add a little bit of panko breadcrumbs, we'll see how we go. And that's going to form our stuffing for this chicken breast that we're going to finally cut out, roll out, and then put the stuffing in and roll it back up. So this chorizo here, I want this really fine, and I'm also going to obviously fry it up. So I'm going to just, basically I'll continue this, but I'll give you an idea of what I'm going to do. Slice it up, and then basically just put it together and really dice it fine so I can spread it out. When I did the chicken, this is similar to that. I had it more chunky, whereas this one I want it to be really diced up. So I'll just keep, working this to dice it really fine. And I'll do that with the whole chorizo. Get it really fine and just work it so that it can. I'll get it even finer than that, but what it's starting to do now, if you can see that, that's sort of starting to be the consistency I want. So I'll chop the rest of this sausage up, this chorizo up, and I'll come back and I'll show you what we're looking at. So one thing that probably would make this a little bit easier if you had a cleaver, because you could just use it and go whack, 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 but I don't have one. I've been wanting to get one for a while, but yeah, that's one of those things I'll probably put on the to-do list. Would make it a little bit easier to chop this up finely, but perseverance, I'll just keep going with the knife and just work this. It's starting to get to the way I want it to. Alright, so that chorizo's all good to go now. It's really fine. I've cut it up. It's almost minced. So yeah, I'll get this fry pan on and we'll get this in and we'll render the fat down first. But yeah, this will form the base of the stuffing, and also the same with the sun-dried tomato. I really dice that up really fine as well. So yeah, I'll get this stove ready and we'll get this on before I make the stuffing. So I've got a good heat there. I'm not actually going to put oil in this. I'm going to render the fat out of the chorizo first. Just going to add that, let that fat start to render down. I'd usually do this outside, but fortunately we've had about 400 or 500 mil of rain in towns all the last week, so everything outside's pretty yucky. I am going to do the chicken in the offset smoker, so that'll be good to go. But the rest of it I'll do inside here, do all my prep work in the kitchen. So yeah, I'll render some of the fat out of that, give that a good stir around, probably give it a minute or two, and I'll add my onion. Let that start to render down, and also the sun-dried tomato. I'll leave the garlic and the chili for a little bit. I'll add them sort of towards the end so I don't burn the garlic. But yeah, I'll give this about 5-6 minutes, and hopefully this should be good to go as a nice stuffing. Okay, so I'm starting to render a bit of that fat out now, so I'm going to add my onion to that. Start to absorb a bit of that fat rendering out of the chorizo. And like I said, I'll also add my sun-dried tomatoes as well. My son wants to make it apparently. Alright, so in goes our garlic and our little bit of chili. And I will add some habanero breadcrumbs, and I will actually add some cheese to that. I'm just going to add the cheese and after I've cooked it all, so the cheese can sit in it, and I'll mix it in consistently without melting it. It'll melt during the cooking process anyway, so if you think it's a little dry, which I think this is, just add some olive oil. Obviously add to your taste and add to what you see cooking at the time. This is just a bit of an idea rather than exact measurements. So just proportionately just add what you think you need to add. So I've added about half a cup of panko breadcrumbs into that, and I'll add a bit of oil. I'll just fry that off a little bit, just add a touch of olive oil just to give it a bit more moisture, fat content in that. And that'll be that. I'll give that another 2 minutes of cooking, and I'll take that off the heat and then let that cool right down, add a bit of cheese, and then put it into the chicken. Okay, so I got my chicken breast here. I've made up 2 already, and they're good to go. I'll just season that other one up, but I just gave them a go to see how they'd work out. So what I essentially did is I'm trying to get this as thin as possible and opened up so I can roll my meat into it. Roll this up basically, and I'll just square it off a touch. This bit here, a bit of fat, so I don't need that, that can go. And I'm left with that's chicken breast there. So what I'm trying to do, cut this as fine as I possibly can. And that's why I'm using my filleting knife. And I'll just start that off and go through. It's, you know, it's a little bit, it's not too difficult, but we'll flatten it out a bit more yet. And I'm just trying to follow the curve of that chicken breast around if I can. So easier said than done. But I do have a longer filleting knife somewhere, but goodness knows where it is. So essentially that's probably about, I could have gone a little thinner there, but now I'll just cut through here, keep rolling this over, like such. There's a bit of a gap there, that's alright, we'll end up folding that in. I did go a bit thinner on the last ones, but what I'll do now is I've got a bit of baking paper, and I'm going to flatten this out as much as I can. The other two are actually a little bit better than this chicken breast here, that's alright. But what I'll do now, I could have gone a bit more, is I'm going to basically, I've got some of this, I did put the cheese in it as well, so about a cupful of cheese or just over, a good handful anyway. And that's going to go on there like that, into there. Now you could just cut a pocket and stuff it in if you wished. I wanted to try something a little bit different, slightly different method. So there, press that in nice and flat. I'm going to start basically rolling that up. There we go. Little fella, as per usual, talking in the background while I'm trying to film. So that, where that is, I'll just pin this here with these toothpicks. That'll be the bottom, and I'll cook that on the bottom. So all the goodness that does melt out will melt out through the bottom. So I'm holding this together with toothpicks. And that's essentially it. That's all the prep work done. I haven't seasoned the meat. I'm going to season the top a little bit, but that's it there. So there's 3, good to go. So you can see them now ready. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to add a bit of salt and pepper to that, and I actually added a bit of, I'll wash my hands. Yeah, I'll season this with a bit of salt and pepper. This is habanero smoked rock salt from the Scorching Saddle Chili Company. There should be enough salt within the chorizo and the cheese and everything inside, so I'm not too worried about that. A bit of salt, pepper, and I've actually just added a bit of smoked paprika as well, just to add that touch, a little bit of colour when they're cooked. So I'll come back. I'll get this downstairs onto the offset smoker, and we'll put them in the offset on the cast iron fry pan, and then we'll cook these things, see how they come. Okay, so I'm pretty much ready to get these in now. I'm running this up, it's about sort of sitting at 175, 180 degrees at the moment, so I'm going to try to run a little hotter like I did the roast chicken. And I've basically opened this up, I've got my fry pan in here. Just a side note, I'm running mostly charcoal on this at the moment, because we've had half a metre of rain here in the last week and a lot of humidity. So to the cast iron first, what I'm going to do, add about a cup of wine, like I did with the roast chicken. Actually, it's probably half a bottle, so I do want this to be submersed reasonably well. I've got a heap of thyme. This is all from my garden here. You can throw that in whole, or you can get it, off and put all the leaves in there, add that flavour, that aroma. And it's worth it. Thyme and chicken, just like peas and carrots, as our friend Forrest Gump would say. So I'll get that in there. That can be dumped in there, that's fine. Now I'm also going to add a bit of butter to this actually. I could add chicken stock or water, but I'm going to add probably a good 100 grams of butter. It's just a guesstimation, so add that in there. So like when you're doing chicken thighs, you do them in the butter bath, so similar sort of principle. I could actually add a little bit of water, and I probably actually will add water during the cooking process, just to put a bit more liquid in there. But to that, what I'll do is I'll just add these, just rest these in here now. And as they're cooking, I'll baste them with a spoon as well, so they don't dry out. That butter that's in there, that'll melt in between them. Add a little bit of flavour, extra fat. And yeah, now it's just a matter of playing the waiting game. I've never done this before, so we'll see how long it takes. But once again, chicken probably 72, 73 degrees internal, 73 degrees internal when I take them off. And yeah, we'll just bake these probably an hour, hour and a half, I'd say. But I'll let you know at the end. Okay, so just a quick one. They've been in 5 minutes, and I actually just moved them down to this end of the smoker, so they're about 3/4 of the way down from the heat box. I just thought to myself, they'll probably cook a little too quickly down the firebox end. I still want them to cook reasonably slow, let them just marinate in that wine down the bottom and just let that flavour get through them. So I'm not in a rush to cook these. I cooked the stuffing already. It's just the chicken meat really, but you know, if I rush it, it could be tough, and I don't want it tough. I want it to be tender, so yeah, I've just moved that down. I can at the end move it down this way a little bit to get a bit of crust on the top and baste it. We'll see if I need to do that, but once again, this type of live fire cooking is all based on what you're doing at the time. Just take note of what's happening. You know, rely on your previous experience cooking chicken breast or chicken thighs, and just rely on that, and just, yeah, you'll make it work. It's not that hard. It's just a matter of adjusting everything to suit. Alright, so these are all at temperature now, so I'm going to take them off. Probably about 80-85 minutes they've been cooking, so good cooking time. I'll get them upstairs, we'll serve them up, and we'll give you the taste test. So I have the girls here, and they're going to taste test this. So we've spent, like I said, 80 minutes cooking, so they're going to give it a go and see what it's like. And they should be able to tell me if it's good or not, so...
That filling is really yummy. Mm.
The what, sorry?
You don't use it in the outside.
No.
The filling.
Yeah, if you cut it directly in half and actually go like to where the, like right in the centre, you'll get that filling.
Yeah, that filling is delicious.
And then the chicken, is the chicken moist or is it?
So good. It's super moist.
So that there's the filling on the inside, and that's that chorizo, sun-dried tomato and everything we put into it.
It's a really nice flavour.
Yeah, been looking forward to this all day.
So it's pretty good? You happy with it?
Very happy.
So there you go, how to impress the women folk, man. So yeah, Shay's just commenting about the white wine and tasting it. She goes, is that alcohol? She goes, it's really rich and really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've pretty much, I'm going to eat myself now and try what this is like. But if you like what I'm doing on the channel, guys, please like and subscribe, and we'll try to bring more things here, different things like this. I'm trying to come up with different ideas every week. But until next time, guys, take care.